So this is going to be a quick miscellaneous video, just going over different personnel and different audibles for the three formations that we cover in this scheme. So starting off with the big nickel here, it's very, very important to note, you see the packages at the bottom of the scroll here, slot CB. It's actually the last one, so if you just scroll to the left, going backwards, it'll be the first one that comes up. That will allow you to do normal adjustments. So if you don't do that slot CB package, your adjustments, your coverage adjustments that you can do on like safeties, linebackers, etc., will be different. It'll force you to put different you only have certain options for certain zones that you can put out there. It can be actually useful at times because you can put like safeties and outside thirds to create like cover three cloud looks, but for the most part you're going to want to keep this slot CB package so that you can do the normal adjustments that you're used to, just like from every other formation. So that's important to note early on. Now for personnel purposes, it's going to be kind of similar for nickel 335 and big nickel. For the D line, you're going to want fast players, but most importantly, you're going to want pass rushers. Pass rushing is the most important thing here. So we have Brandon Graham in, and we have Fletcher Cox. Those are the two best pass rushers on the Eagles. And then from there, we just have Jannard Avery and Josh Sweat. That's going to be two fast players for us. So the most important thing is going to be pass rushing. From there, speed. Speed's a luxury. Speed is definitely nice to have, but I think pass rushing is a little bit more important in the big nickel spot. So keep that in mind. If you had to choose just from one though, I would say it's going to be the pass rushing stats. Going on to linebackers, speed. I think speed's the most important thing in the game for anything outside of the D lineman for the most part right now. So we have Kayvon Wallace and Davian Taylor. Vontae Maddox is going to be your slot corner. For the reason is 93 speed. Again, speed. When you blitz this player, you're going to want them to come in fast with the QB. When they're in man coverage, you're going to want them to be able to keep up with any wide receiver that they're manned up to. So that's why you want speed there. Man coverage is going to be the next most important thing behind speed here. And then zone coverage is going to be last. That's going to be the order there. For the meta right now, you're playing a lot of man coverage. So that's why that's the second most important thing. Nicole Roby-Coleman. And then Darius Slay Jr. outside. It's going to be speed and man coverage here again. Zone coverage third. Zone coverage is probably a little bit more important on the outside ones. You're going to play more zone than you will with the slots. But again, you're going to be playing a lot of man coverage, and you're going to want a lot of speed out there, especially to not give up any deep touchdowns. So Darius Slay Jr. and Nicole Roby-Coleman will be good. Here we just put LeBlanc and Jalen Mills here. Going to be speed again. Then probably zone coverage is a little bit more important than man coverage here. They're going to be in zone more than man. But if they have man-to-man, that helps as well. But again, speed. So going over to nickel 335, going to be the same thing. I'll kind of fly through this one here. You're going to want speed and pass rushing. Same thing. Pass rushing first, speed second. Same thing with the linebackers. You're going to want speed to user. And then maybe some man coverage stats. That'll help as well. Same thing with the big nickel. Man coverage stats is nice. Zone coverage stats is nice. But speed's definitely the number one thing. When you're blitzing your user, you don't really have to worry about changing direction too much. So that kind of negates that. You don't really need to look at change direction as much anymore because of the blitzing user mechanic. Avonte Maddox, again, same reason. Same reason for the outside corners. Same reason for the safeties here. Doesn't change. Going over to 3-4 bear. Now, for the actual quote-unquote blitz where you're sending three people, what's going to be important here is going to be speed, right, at the end positions. So we have Jannard Avery and we have Josh Sweat. We do not have Brandon Graham in. Reason being is these players are going to come through without getting touched a lot of the time, or not getting blocked, that is. So you're not going to have to worry about them having to block shed or use like their power rush move or finesse move. The DT spot, the DT can come in free as well, but I think it's important to have a good pass rushing DT. Reason being is when they don't come in, they don't disengage, they don't come straight through without getting blocked. It'll be nice to get that block shed to allow you to still get some pressure on the quarterback, still get some sheds, even though you're not getting your A gap or your B gap. From there, you actually have to use linebackers here. You can't use safeties in middle linebacker like you can with the nickel 335 and the big nickel. So you have to use kind of speed here, and you can just kind of just have to go with what you have, right? So what you can do is maybe put Nathan Gary, take Nathan Gary out and put a different linebacker here if you'd like to use Gary at this spot. As you see, Gary moves over here because that's going to be your other middle linebacker. But again, it's kind of go like you're going with what you feel here because they're going to be in coverage. You're not going to really ever blitz those players. Every single player is going to be in coverage outside of those three D linemen. So you kind of just have to work with what linebackers you have. If you're in MUT, the fastest you can get, like Mills, Sayal, Shazier, those will be helpful for you. But if you're not in MUT, just kind of using the fastest linebackers you can get with the best zone coverage you can get in regs. And then for the safety positions, I put Roby-Coleman and Jalen Mills out there. And that way we could have the speed on the outside for Darius Slay Jr. and Avonte Maddox. Now you're going to be playing more zone coverage from this. There is a cover one hole. I do recommend that you use it. However, you're going to be playing more zone from this than you probably will out of nickel 3-5 or big nickel. So zone coverage is probably a little bit more important after the speed. And then man coverage is probably third. So that's what we did it. Different alignment. This gives them a different look. A little bit different strategy of playing than the nickel 3-5 and the big nickel. I'll quickly fly through audibles here. For 3-4 bear, the only ones that are really important are cover 1 hole and cover 3. I would make sure you have those 2 in it. Those are really the only 2 plays that I would recommend calling. The other 2, you can kind of go with your choice. I didn't change them at all. Those were the stock audibles. For nickel 3-5, this is the audibles I would recommend. 2-man under, cover 2-man. You're going to call that a lot. Cover 3 cloud. I like that coverage a lot. Probably my favorite base coverage in the game if I'm playing zone. Tampa 2, that's what you're going to blitz out of. You can also mix in coverage out of Tampa 2. Cover 3 sky drop. That's just going to be another coverage one if you want to mix it in. That one's kind of a free choice. If you would like to change it, go ahead. I'd still recommend using the Tampa 2 for sure, because that's the blitz. Cover 3 cloud, that's a coverage I really like, so I'd recommend it. Then cover 2 man's a very good coverage. Last one here, big nickel. I would recommend doing it this way. Cover 2 man, very, very important. I would make sure you have that in there. For the meta right now, you're going to want to be able to audible to that if you need to. I don't really use my audibles a ton on defense, but if you do want to audible, you have these available. Then I would use these 3. If you want to use the man blitz, which I don't recommend nearly as much, and I go over that in the blitzing video for big nickel. And then SS blitz 2 and SS blitz 3. Those are going to be your blitzes from the cover 2 and the cover 3. Now, from those 2, you can kind of coverage them out. So if I quickly look at them, SS blitz 3, you can just coverage that blitzing corner out, and then you have a cover 3 look already. Same thing with cover 2. If you coverage that slot corner out, you'll have a cover 2 look with a slot corner already coveraged out. So you don't have to have cover 3 sky and cover 2 in there, because you can essentially do the same things from these. If you would prefer to have those in the audibles instead of the SS blitz 2 and the SS blitz 3 and just come out in the blitzes when you want to use them, that makes perfect sense. That's perfectly cool, and you can do that as well. Again, I said I don't really audible a ton on defense, so I don't really ever change them. If I want to come out in the blitz, I'll come out in it, and I won't really worry about audibling. But if you are going to do it that way, if you are going to audible, those are the way I would recommend to do it. So that's the miscellaneous. That's kind of what I recommend for regs. Whichever team you use, you can just use whatever players match kind of the description that I mentioned for the Eagles. If you're in MUT, I already did the whole write-up on it. You can read what I said with the characteristics that you're looking for in your players that can suit the schemes that you want to use. So I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope you'll kind of use that as a guide to pick your players out. Quickly here, I wanted to note something about the audibles in big nickel over G. If you're audibling from anything other than the SS blitzes into the SS blitzes, the blitz angle on the slot corner will get messed up. It's going to be as if it's blitzing from the other side. And you can see that when I go over the adjustment video for trips tight end. So I wanted to make sure that you know that if you have these audibles like this, you really only want to audible from SS blitz 2 to SS blitz 3 or vice versa. So if you're coming out like a cover 3 sky and you audible into the SS blitzes, you can do that, and that's fine if you plan on playing coverage defense from them, because you can still man up the corner as if they're on the side that they're on, and it's just fine. And you can still audible them into zones and stuff like that. However, if you are going to be audibling from like something like 2-man under or cover 3 sky into those blitzes and wanting the blitz, you're actually going to have to come out in them. So keep that in mind for the audibles. Again, as I already mentioned, I don't really even set my audibles in this. If I want to blitz, I come out in the blitzes. But this is what I recommended if you plan on staying in the blitzes most of the time, outside of being in cover 2-man. So just wanted to note that for you all, just so you could be clear on what you want to do for your audibles for big nickel over G. I hope this video was helpful for you.